Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you are all having a good day. Are you ready for new stories? I have 5 for you today. Let's go to the first one. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment.
My 36 female, stepmother, 66 female, admitted to my dad, 66 male, that she gave away my mother's bridal jewelry after she took it from me as a child. She gave me the name and number of the woman. We'll call her Padma. She also said that Padma used the jewelry in her wedding and it must be important to her. She said it would be cruel and selfish for me to demand to take it, and that it's jewelry meant for a bride, and I'm still single, and I should be glad it brought someone else joy. But that was my mother's jewelry that she wore when she married my dad. She wore the chura for a year after the ceremony. Would I be the a-hole if I called up Padma and asked her for my mom's jewelry back? Should I just accept that it's gone? Should I wait and see if I ever get a fiancé before calling her? You would not be the a-hole, but I recommend threatening your stepmother with small claims court if she doesn't try to get the jewelry back first. She gave something away that wasn't hers to give. That's stealing. Not the a-hole, but your stepmother should be calling Padma herself and owning up that she sold her stolen goods. Not the a-hole. From a moral standpoint, I don't think there's anything wrong with at least asking, explaining to her what happened and the sentimental value behind it, although she may not care about that. From a legal standpoint, depending on where you are, if you can prove it was stolen, then she may have no claim to it anyways, as you can't legally purchase stolen items in many places. I'm my dad's only daughter. My dad is very rich. He has made over $1 million a year for the last 18 years. I always felt he favored my brothers growing up. For example, he sent both of my brothers to fancy private high schools, where I went to the local public school that wasn't comparable. When I graduated from college, my dad cut me off immediately. When one brother dropped out, my dad continued to fund his lifestyle. These are only 2 of many examples. That said, my dad wasn't aggressive, and I had a very privileged childhood by any relative measure. My dad paid for a car when I turned 16 and for all of my college. But then when I got into graduate schools, to pursue my father's profession, he had recently divorced my mother, and with the encouragement of his girlfriend, who is now his fiancée, he said he would not contribute to my grad school tuition or living expenses. I asked if he would cover the amount he spent to send my brothers to private high school. He said no, because I was out of college and could pay back my loans, just like he did. Yeah, 30 years ago, my mom supported him while he was in school, and tuition cost $800 a semester. In light of this and my financial situation, I turned down my dream school for a less prestigious school because I was awarded scholarships. I used all my savings from 3 years of work towards school too, but it wasn't nearly enough. I graduated in May with over $100,000 in grad school debt. Then I got engaged in October, and funny enough, so did my dad, to the woman who advocated for his decision not to pay for my grad school. They are having an extravagant wedding at an art museum with 200 guests. But when I asked if he would financially support our wedding, even in a way of his choosing, he said no. He loves me and my partner, but we are adults and can pay for it ourselves. The issue is, we really cannot. I took the most lucrative position in my field, which I hate, but took it to pay off my loans, and my loan payments are still a substantial portion of my monthly income. The same is true for my partner. He has $80,000 in loans from business school. I was heartbroken when my dad said he would contribute nothing. Mostly, I'm devastated that my dad won't support me when he absolutely has the financial means to do so. And societally, it's the role of the bride's family to pay for a wedding. His lavish wedding simply adds insult to injury. Would I be the a-hole if I refused to attend? Not the a-hole. Your dad sounds awful. If you're a woman, I'd say he's being misogynistic by supporting your brothers and not you. It is literally all down to his fiancée, and he's just spineless. Who needs that in their life? Don't attend, shrug, and tell him you'd need to use your time more wisely if you're to pay off your debts. Sounds like your dad's a jerk who favors boys. It happens a lot. I would talk to your partner about the wedding and what they want to do. Do they want to elope? Or have a smaller wedding day? Or try saving some funds for a year or 2? Financial support for a wedding isn't guaranteed, so asking for support is okay. Most people pay their own way now and consider anything from family a bonus. Your feelings are valid if he's showing favoritism toward others, but otherwise just leave it, unless you think it's the hill worth your relationship dying on. If you want to go to the wedding, go. If you don't go. Not the a-hole, and he's getting milked by someone who got him wrapped around her little finger. Make up your own life, and remember what everyone did to you when the table gets turned. It might be tough now, but a day will come when you will be more confident standing on your feet, having the right to tell anyone who questions you that it's not their business to invade your life. Make your own fortune and get away from the mercy of your dad. Am I the a-hole for reminding cousin that my daughter isn't his? Didn't necessarily say it in that way, but I reminded him that my daughter is mine, and that just brought back the reminder of the fact that he isn't hers. Yes, cheating was involved, but not in the way that you think, since at the time I didn't know the relationship status of hers. His girlfriend, well, now wife, and I met through mutual friends. We had some drinks and hooked up a couple times. My cousin and I aren't that close, and our family doesn't connect much, so it was really a long while before I found out who he was with. She had a 6-month-old daughter, and judging by how long ago we had hooked up, I knew the math didn't add up. I demanded a paternity test, and that's how it all came out. I'm my daughter's biological father and went to court to establish paternity and to get visitation rights. Ever since then, I've been more involved in her life. My cousin and I don't talk for the most part, but I know they're trying to work things out, so still together. There have been a few occasions in which he has tried to step between my time with her, taking an impromptu trip right before it's my time to go see her, or drop her off hours late at my place. I haven't wanted to get legal about it because we're family, and I know this is still hard on him, but we've had many talks. It was her 3rd birthday recently, and the plan was she spent morning to afternoon with her mom and then be dropped off at my house by 3. We decided to do a small party for her, just some cake, a small jumper, and balloons with my girlfriend, brothers, and my parents. It was an hour later with no show, so I called her mom. She told me my cousin had taken her to the park and thought he would have dropped her off by now. I called him and gave him an earful, telling him to bring her now. He dropped her off an hour and a half later. After the party, I called him back to tell him off for purposely being late, knowing damn well what the agreed time was. My cousin told me it's not his fault they lost track of time when he's just trying to bond with his child. And that's when I reminded him that actually, she's my child, and that doesn't give him the right to interfere when it's my time with her. My cousin was quiet, then hung up. I'm hearing it now from others, mainly my aunt, his mom, and also my mom, for reminding him of something painful that he's still trying to work through. And I get that it's painful, but it's been this way for a long time already, and sometimes it's like he still tries to push me out. So that's why in that moment I felt the need to point it out, and remind him that she's my kid, and I'm also entitled to my time with her. But I don't know if reminding him of that was an a-hole thing to do, given the history. Not the a-hole, it's your time, and he cannot mess with that. Tell him more incidents will result in court action. He does not have a legal or moral right to the kid. Not the a-hole. Your cousin is deliberately messing with your visitation times with your daughter because he is immature and insecure. If this was the first time, I could maybe understand your aunt and your mom defending him. But this is a constant battle, and he needs to stop. At this point, you may need to go back to court regarding the visitation. Not the a-hole. If this was a one-off thing, I'd vote differently. But your post states he has a habit of wanting bonding time right before your scheduled time with your daughter and showing up late knowing it was your time with your daughter. Honestly, I'd sit both cousin and his wife down and lay it out that you are very frustrated with having to basically chase down where your cousin is with your daughter when it's your agreed upon time. Document that this is happening while it's happening, and if he continues, then go back to the courts and lay it out so that instead of having agreed upon time, you have legal allowed time. 25 male, just moved into a nice apartment which I've been saving for ages. I decided to have a little get-together with some of my friends, who also live in the building, and some other neighbors. One of these neighbors is an old lady who my friend said I probably shouldn't invite in case she disliked me, but I thought I'd invite her anyways because my friends weren't that fussed about it. It was more of a recommendation, and I want to befriend the people in the building. Now, my building allows dogs or cats under the condition that they weigh under 10 kilograms. My dog is a fully grown Cocker Spaniel who was the run of the litter, and so she weighs 9.7 kilograms. Obviously, the building also disapproves of noise created by the pets as well, which is fair. However, my dog doesn't make noise. It got to the point that I was concerned that she couldn't bark because she's only barked 3 times in her life, and all of them were before we moved in. She's a very well-trained dog, and I have adhered to every single rule the building has about pets. The trouble begins at the get-together. Everyone is mingling, and I've met most of my neighbors, and everyone is having a good time when people start heading out. Eventually, the only person left is an elderly lady who, as she is walking out the door, asked if she could discuss something with me. I said of course, and she says that she noticed I have a dog. I say yes, her name's Daisy, and she's a spaniel, blah blah blah. when she interrupts me and says that she should be rehomed by the end of the week, or she will report me to the building manager to have her put down. I was obviously taken aback by this, as my dog fits all the requirements, and I can't figure out what to do. So I just started laughing in her face. She asks me what's so funny, and I told her that she could not be more wrong about this, and I can see why my friends didn't want me to invite her, because she's uptight about rules that don't exist. I also told her that she's welcome to take a complaint to the manager, but she should prepare to be embarrassed, because nothing will happen, and she'll just seem like a petty old woman with nothing better to do than cause others misery. Am I the a-hole for how I spoke to my neighbor? Not the a-hole. You are within your rights and lease agreement to have your dog. You invited your neighbor to a party to get to know each other. She responded with threats. I'm actually impressed you shut this down so effectively. Not the a-hole. I think that old lady got off pretty easy by you just laughing at her. Personally, I'd have a lot more R-rated dialogue for someone who lurked at a party, in my home, then told me they'd have my dog Cade as they were leaving. That's incredibly rude, and threatening too. If she does report you, make sure the building manager knows that this lady is going around threatening people. Not the a-hole, and I would be careful with this one. You may be following all the rules, but that won't stop this old lady from lying about it. She can tell the landlord all sorts of stories about your dog. I would contact the landlord and tell them that this lady threatened you and made demands of you that are not her place. This way, you are on record with your version, so that if she does complain, the landlord knows it's most likely not true what she says. So me, 21 male, and my girlfriend, 20 female, got into an argument tonight because our 7-month-old baby fell off the bed onto the carpet. We have a crib in the room next to our bed because I've been trying to stop an unhealthy attachment pattern I see she's creating. Before I started playing, I took 4 melatonin gummies and put baby in crib to play a couple games of Apex before I went to sleep. This was at 10 p.m. I have to be at work at 6 a.m. My girlfriend took our son out of crib and put him on bed while I'm in the middle of playing, so I didn't notice he was close to the edge. After he fell, he started crying, so I picked him up and gave to girlfriend to comfort him until he felt better. After I finished the round, I went to change his diaper and he started crying. I don't know why, but I got a little frustrated, so I set him back in his crib, grabbed a blanket, and went to sleep downstairs. I woke up an hour later to crying and tried to ignore it to go back to sleep, but after 30 minutes it hadn't stopped, so I went upstairs to help. My girlfriend was making her way downstairs and went outside as I was going up. I got him to sleep in under 10 minutes because of tricks I learned from research on guides and also trying out different things. I just try to recreate the feeling of being in the womb because that's where babies come from, so that's where they'd be most comfortable. After he was asleep, I went to get girlfriend from outside, and she is visibly upset. She grabs a throw over and goes downstairs. I follow her and bring her a blanket. She was crying, so I hugged her, and after she calmed down, she basically said it was my fault he fell, and that I was ignoring her struggling to put him down for hours. But she was the one who took him out of the crib, and I've told her plenty of times that the way she gets him to sleep is ineffective, but she never listened. She's currently upstairs, and I'm downstairs. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole for unhealthy attachment pattern alone. Your partner is teaching your child that they can rely on her for their needs. That's not unhealthy. That builds a secure and confident child. You should try it yourself so that your child knows they can rely on you too. Edit. Everyone sucks here, as your partner shouldn't have left the baby. You both need to take some parenting classes as soon as possible. You're the a-hole for one extremely simple reason. You prioritized a video game over your child and partner. Additionally, you took melatonin, I'm assuming to help you sleep better, because she's expected to wake with baby all night long. When you were at home, instead of giving her a break and letting her rest, you played a video game. It's glaringly obvious that she's struggling just by the information you've provided. Not everyone is a pro at parenting. Not everyone is a natural. That's not even considering the fact hormones after pregnancy are completely out of whack, and she might even be struggling mental health issues on top of raising an infant. She's not completely without fault here, but your priorities are glaringly obvious and the center of these issues. Log off the game and support your partner. Having a kid means sacrifices, especially those first few years. Everyone sucks here. Both of you are too immature and self-immersed in order to be proper parents. You never leave a 7-month-old baby on the edge of a bed, or even in the middle of it, without keeping a solid eye on them. Babies roll and move, and more have been injured by rolling right off the bed. You cared more about your game playing than the safety of your baby. You both behave badly, and you need to grow up because you brought a baby into the world. That baby deserves 2 parents who put him first instead of themselves. Grow the F up.